It's time to live your stronger life. Hey, I'm Sammy, physio coach and nutritionist, and your hype girl for creating your stronger life. Here, we ditch the quick fixes and build real strength inside and out. So whether you're here to tone up, drop the body fat, build muscle, mental resilience, or ditch the diet culture, or just feel bloody good in your skin, you're in the right place. So let's get into it. Okay, imagine this. 2 women, same height, same weight, both 70 kilos. One of them looks lean, strong, and defined. The other one feels soft, unhappy with how she looks, and is confused about why the scale says the same number, but completely different bodies. How is that even possible? And it comes down to what the weight is actually made of. And today we're breaking down one of the most misunderstood concepts in women's fitness, their body composition. Most women I work with have been chasing a number on the scale for years, a specific weight they decided was where they needed to be. Maybe it was their pre-baby weight, this year 12 weight, some arbitrary number that they decided meant that they'd made it, they'd achieved all their goals, or that's what they were chasing, and they still didn't look or feel the way they wanted to, even if they achieved it, because weight is not the goal. Body composition has always been the goal, and the scale measures one part of it, but tells you almost nothing about what your body is actually looking like. So your body weight is everything: muscle, fat, bone, water, organs, the food currently in your digestive system, all of it together on that little number on a little tile sitting in your bathrooms, made of a piece of metal or glass or whatever the hell it's made of yours in particular at home. Your body fat percentage is different. It's specifically the portion of your body that is fat tissue, and then everything else, muscle, bone, water, organs, that all gets called lean mass. So that's what matters. It's not like just measuring body fat and then muscle mass. It's proportion of your body that is fat tissue, and then everything else, lean mass, muscle, bone, water, and organs all combined. And so here's why this matters so much. Muscle is denser than fat. A kilo of muscle takes up less physical space than a kilogram of fat. However, a kilo is still a kilo. A kilo of fat is still the same as a kilo of muscle. It just takes up less amount of space because it is denser. Think about the difference between a kettlebell, like 5 kilo kettlebell, 5 kilo dumbbell, 5 kilo weight plate. They can all be very different sizes, but they all weigh the same. And that is the same as muscle versus fat. So muscle is denser than fat. A kilogram of muscle is going to take up less physical space, but it's still going to weigh the same. But when you build muscle and you lose body fat, your body can look dramatically different even with minimal changes on the scale. You look smaller, more defined, better in your clothes, but the number hasn't moved much. And this is why women who start strength training often panic. The scale doesn't drop fast. Sometimes it stays flat for weeks. Sometimes it goes up a little bit and they think they're doing something wrong, but they're not. They're doing exactly the right thing. Their body composition is improving even when the scale isn't moving. So what does body fat percentage look like in practical terms then? So for women, we do require a little bit more essential body fat than males. So we also need to readjust our expectations of what does look lean and what is a healthy athletic look that you may be chasing. Because sometimes I'm chatting to women and they're chasing an unhealthy standard because they almost are comparing to males, and we are not mini males. We have a more higher level of essential body fat because we need to protect more organs, and we also need to have more body fat to support our hormonal health for reproduction. So for most women, essential fat is around 10 to 13%. The athletic range is roughly 14 to 20%. Fitness range, they call 21 to 24%. These names are so silly, but this is just what they say. And average a healthy person is 25 to 31%, and then that's kind of average to high, like 25 very, very healthy. Pushing into the 30s, you're starting to look a bit overweight, holding a little bit excess body fat, and then anything above 30s is definitely typical of you're holding too much body fat and you're in the obese range. That can start to have negative impact on your health in general. That's literally speaking biology, scientific terms. It's just there's higher risk of health complications after that kind of body fat percentage, and it is advantageous to try and sit within that 20 to 30% range. Now, these ranges are guides, not judgments, but they help you understand that this could be what you could be at a healthy or even athletic body fat percentage. And, your scale weight could be higher than you expect. And especially if you're building muscle, your body fat percentage may be lower. Your muscle mass may be higher, so your scale weight may be higher than what you think your goal weight is. So the scale is just one data point and not the full story. I do want to swing back to when you are measuring body fat though. So like I mentioned before, when you're kind of getting those body fat measurement scales, if you just have the scales where you're just standing on them and they don't measure, they just measure your body fat from the way that you stand on them and they send the impedance upwards, they're super inaccurate. It's mainly taking your body fat from your legs. It can't really go through your whole entire body. If you have scales where you hold the handlebars, it's a little bit more accurate. But again, and then DEXA scans, DEXA, couldn't pronounce that properly. DEXA scans are the highest quality, best evidence-based that is accessible. There's other measures to measure your body fat percentage that aren't as easily accessible unless you're in a scientific research setting. But DEXA scans definitely are more accessible to a general population, not as easily as, the scans that you may get at gyms and things, and then the scales that you can get at home. And so obviously the more medical based it is, the more accurate it is going to be. But at the end of the day, it is still measuring body fat that's in your body, and then lean mass, which is everything else. So your lean mass could go up, but you also have to remember there's muscle, bone, water, and organs. So if you have a really high carbohydrate meal and then lots of water and then you go get on it, you will look like you've built muscle because your lean mass goes up because you're holding more carbs and water. If you're dehydrated, your lean mass may go down. So there's different things that can influence your lean mass that is beyond whether you've actually built muscle or not. So it can be a little bit challenging to really rely on the numbers. Like if it says you put on 1 kilo of muscle in 4 weeks, it's probably not, and that may not be accurate. But if you consistently do those scans every 4 to 6 to 8 weeks, and you see it consistently going up and body fat consistently going down, the trends over time is what matters more than the specific numbers, even when it comes to these scales, because again, there's so many influences at play and they can just be so incredibly inaccurate. But when you put all the data together, such as the scale, such as the body fat measurements, your photos, other measurements, and so much more, I'm about to touch on all the different things that you should be tracking in more detail. But when you put it all together, that's when you get a better picture. So what should you track instead? Let me jump into that in a little bit more depth. So you definitely should be tracking your progress photos. I think they are the best measure of success. And also because you see yourself every day, you don't think you're oh, I'm not really making any progress, I'm not really improving. And then you go and look at your photos and you're holy moly, I can't believe how far I've come, because you just don't always see it. So progress photos taken in the same lighting, same time of day, same outfit, every 2 to 4 weeks. These will just show you so much more than what the scale can. Measurements, waist, hip, arms, thighs, up to you how much you want to measure. I recommend at least just your waist is a really good one. But if you're trying to build muscle, you could do other areas as well. So it's totally up to you how much you want to measure, but definitely measurements are helpful because the inches lost can tell you about fat loss at the same time. If measurements are going down in certain areas, but the scale isn't moving, then you know your body composition is improving. If there's measures of success, there's measures of progress. You've got to look at the whole entire picture. Another consideration is how your clothes are fitting. And this is another really reliable indicator. The jeans that you couldn't zip up 8 weeks ago now fit. That's real change regardless of what the scale says. Keep in mind though, if you're about to have your period, you're obviously going to be a little bit bloated. You're going to be a bit watery feeling. Your clothes may feel a little bit tighter that day. So also keep in mind other logical things did you just eat a really big meal? Do you need to go to the loo? Are you about to have your period or anything like that? That can also influence how your clothes are fitting day to day. But if you just think overall trends over time, that's what you really want to focus in on. And how you perform in the gym. Are you lifting heavier? Are you recovering faster? Are you feeling stronger? That's muscle, and that matters. That's proof in the pudding. If you can lift heavier, you are putting on muscle. You can't do it otherwise. If you do want to track body fat percentage, like I mentioned, DEXA scanning is the most accurate. You can also do skin fold caliper testing, but it can be challenging to not do it as accurately. You need someone else to do it for you, so you want the same practitioner each time if possible, because it does just help to keep a bit of consistency amongst the different measurements. And then, at home bioimpedance scales are variable. Like I mentioned, they're affected by hydration. They're not particularly reliable for tracking, but they can be useful to monitor trends over time. Just don't take too much note of the specific numbers along the way. And honestly, like for most women, if you're patient enough, you have to be patient for this journey to work. Consistent progress photos and measurements are just as informative as anything else, and you almost don't even have to worry about your specific body fat number too much. Like if you can just look at how things are going, can you guess what I'm going to say? The trends over time. That should be the name of this podcast episode, Trends Over Time, because I feel like that is all I'm saying here. So I want you to genuinely consider breaking up with the scale as your primary measure of success. Yes, it is a tool we use in the toolkit, and it is very valuable to show us what's going on in the bod, but it is not the only tool that you have in your toolkit, and it is not it should not be the primary thing you look at completely. So you got to stop letting it be the thing that determines whether you had a good day or a bad day. You wake up and you jump on the scale, pop the number on your tracking app and go, cool, about your day. Who cares? Because we are not one fixated human beings. We ebb and flow, just like the tides come in and out, and the tides are never the same, are they? When it's high tide, it's a certain amount. Low tide, it's a certain amount. The next day, it's going to be completely different. Same as our temperature. Some days it's hot, some days it's cold. No day is ever exactly the same. Your body is exactly the same as this. So stop expecting it to be any different than anything else that we have in our world. Everything ebbs and flows. Everything is going to go up and down, up and down. So that's why we want to look at trends over time. And if you just rely on the scale, you miss the opportunity to see that you are building a stronger, leaner, healthier body. And the process is not always going to be linear from the scale. And what's really happening under the hood, you may just let go of because you let the scale derail you. And then you're like, no, fuck this, I'm not going to keep going. But you could just be like 3 feet from gold. You could have just been like literally 2 more days and you would have seen some amazing progress. But because you just keep giving up because you're not seeing the results fast enough, that's the issue. 3 feet from gold. If you've heard that story, if you know, you know. You could be literally just on the edge of seeing something amazing. And that is the issue. Most women expect results way too quickly. You need to slow down and just smell the roses, enjoy the journey, and trust that it will happen in due course. But the reason why you're frustrated and you feel like it's never happening and I've been on this journey for years and I've never seen any progress is because you just haven't let it be consistent for long enough. You just keep yo-yoing backwards and forwards between this is too hard, trying to go at 100%, this is too hard, I'm not seeing results, I give up, I'm waiting for motivation, all of that BS. Whereas if you just went, you know what, I'm just going to turn this into my lifestyle, I'm just going to enjoy the ride, I'm going to enjoy the journey, I'm going to do the right things, but I'm going to stay consistent with it, even if I don't see progress. I'm going to be consistently lifting weights, I'm going to consistently eat enough food and enough protein, I'm going to get some decent sleep, drink some water, go for a walk, I'm just going to keep doing it. And you know what, if I get results, amazing. If I don't, who cares, I'm just going to keep going. That's when you get the real results. The results happen when you actually stop chasing them, to be honest, and you just fall in love with the journey. Trust the process more than you trust some random ass number on the scale. It is just a data point, and your progress will happen for realsies. So if you've ever been letting the scale run your mood, which I guarantee if you're listening to this episode, you probably have, I hope this episode has given you some perspective and some help. And I would love if you came onto Instagram and let me know if this actually did help you. And you found this kind of content and this type of podcast valuable. And otherwise, if not, I'll just listen to another one and I hope I hit you there. Thanks so much for listening. If you found this episode valuable, please rate, review, and subscribe. And I'd love if you shared this on your Instagram and tag me Sammy_livestrong. And if you'd like to learn more about my coaching and join the Project Livestrong family, please message me Livestrong on Instagram and I'll see how I can help. I'll see you next time.